Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero and pop culture. So that's video games, movies, TV shows, and we do a little news and speculation, all that fun stuff. I am your resident Fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. Ladi, first of all, Happy New Year, my friend, and how
Happy
you
New
doing
Year.
today, man?
I'm doing great. Just ready to talk about 2021, man. The year I almost want to call it the year of the superhero because there was a lot of superhero content
It's yeah,
in
absolutely.
2021.
It feels like every year has been like that, but this year for real, or at least the last year was for real. And yeah, so it's guys, it's been a minute since we've been together. Christmas and everything is a little bit of a hiatus for the show, for vacation and whatnot. But we're back for the new year, 2022, just started, and uh, superheroes really brought everything home in the last year. At the end of 2021, we had No Way Home killing the game, absolutely killing the game. We had Hawkeye that came to an
Straight
end,
up.
and we're going to review the Hawkeye season on this episode. And it just ultimately, we had, as you said, the ending of a pretty stellar year, which it's a COVID year, but if I don't know if you noticed this or if you saw this, Lottie, but the top four box office movies for 2021 were all superhero things. So you're absolutely right. It was the year of superhero in the sense that um, you almost want to say without those, what would the box office have looked like at all? Uh, so that's of course No Way Home was top one. Shang-Chi would half as much as No Way Home, but I mean, all things considered, doing quite well. You also had Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, and Black Widow. So those are the top four movies, and that after that was I think Fast Nine. Um, so they really are, box office Viagra. It just is that a fair thing to say? They're the little
Yeah.
blue pill for the box office in a
Yes.
very depressed. I won't say a depressed year as we're trying to get back to the theater and everything. And so we are going to talk about the top 10 superhero properties, in our opinion, for the last year. And of course, our opinion is the definitive opinion. So if you have alternate opinion, just know you're wrong when you share it with us. And also, we're going to talk about our most anticipated superhero properties coming up for this year. So lots of fun. We're gonna It's just a ton to talk about. So we're gonna get right into it, talking about the Hawkeye season finale. So Lottie, there's a lot of crap going on at the end of the year, but let's not forget that we had 6 episodes of Hawkeye, which was culminated the week after No Way Home came out.
Yeah.
And my God, what I keep saying about Marvel Studios? What do I keep saying about them? They are the smoothest criminals in town. That I mean, peep game here. The week before No Way Home comes out, what does Kevin Feige say? Oh, Charlie Cox is if whenever we do Daredevil, he's gonna be our he's gonna be our Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
And then we see a little picture at the end of episode 5 of Hawkeye of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. So Charlie Cox's Kingpin. And then what happens in No Way Home? Charlie Cox shows up as Matt Murdock. And what happens the week after that? Fucking Kingpin is in there. They
Fan.
what I'm telling you that they are not they don't play at Marvel Studios. They do not play around.
Uh,
That's this shit was crazy.
Man. No Way Home alone. Just, I mean,
I love that No Way Home
I,
Alone, Kevin. I
I
just
mean,
imagine Kevin McAllister. No,
No Way Home alone.
a multiversal
No,
Kevin McAllister.
McAllister. I hope
Okay, I'm
nobody
sorry.
remembers that I'm Kevin McAllister. but but honestly, that movie alone should just cement the MCU's dominance this year. But other movies came out,
But
which
I'm just saying, think about the poor chutzpah,
yeah,
the absolute like baller move that it was to do Hawkeye and then No Way Home and then Hawkeye season finale the way they did with the Daredevil characters, but
yeah,
straight baller moves. Like
yeah.
we haven't even gotten into the review of this. I'm just saying, like they're playing 4D chess up at Marvel. I don't know what anybody else that everyone else that thinks, oh, we can do a superhero shared universe and we're going to do all that. Y'all are not playing the same game that Marvel is playing right now.
No,
They at this point, as I said before, they're flipping through back issues and just anybody will show up. You know
yep,
what? You know how smart they are at Marvel? They're so smart that literally other companies are like, I guess we can do multiverses too. Even though DC introduced the idea of doing a multiverse, Marvel actually made it so that other people are like, I guess we can do multiverse too. And they're not going to do it as well, but it's I just have to bow down, or have to, give lots of credit and lots of admiration to the fact that Marvel Studios has made comic book nerds out of everybody. I didn't think it was possible for people I know that would never pick up a comic book in their life are sitting up here having conversations with me about is that which Doctor Strange is that? You know, which
yep.
I'm not kidding. They'll never pick up a comic book and yet we're having comic book conversation. That is pretty phenomenal. So,
I mean, I told you when I was in the movie theater, when I was me and my brother were watching No Way Home and we saw the little trailer at the end. I'm looking this man in front sitting in front of us. He has young daughters. Like they're like 6 and 8 years old. And they know Toby Maguire. They know uh what we may think is uh Strange Supreme. And I'm just saying to myself, this would have never happened for me as a kid. This would have never happened. When I was a kid in the early 2000s, late 90s, no way in heck. The only reason why I knew like the movies, like the superhero movies that were out when I was a kid were what? The Batman movies. You know,
mhm,
those were the Batman movies and I didn't know who the heck my dad had to tell me who they were, but I didn't care enough to know it myself. To get excited to see Mr. Freeze. Come on, man. These kids are jumping up and down to see Tobey Maguire. That just shows you what Marvel has done. And not just Marvel, let's just be honest too. To, to, to how much superheroes are ingrained in today's culture now.
right,
Because like I said, they're just not in just movies or anything. It's I mean, Spider-Man is in Fortnite, which is like which is sort of like on its own form of like a Smash Brothers. You know what I mean?
right,
He's it's superheroes have penetrated into so much medium that you have rappers rapping about superheroes now. You have rappers and R&B singers cosplaying as dressing up as superheroes now.
right,
Something that would have never happened when we were younger. That's how much like honestly, it's getting to the point that you are not cool if you're not a nerd. Like it's starting to get to that point that
or
nerds,
or at least what you know things are traditionally nerdy or somewhat cool. So
yeah, it's
yeah,
starting to get to that point because may not for our generation, but if you talk to some of these like 13, like these younger kids between the age of 10 and 15, that's all they know, man. That's comic books, anime, all that stuff. That's what they're into. Like it is part of their culture now. You know what I mean? To the point that it seems weird if you meet a kid that doesn't like superhero comic books. Or I won't say doesn't like them, but like let's say you meet somebody that says, "Oh, I hate Marvel and DC. Like I don't watch nothing nerdy." They'll be like, "What is wrong with you? You must not watch movies then."
Right. Yeah. Well, I mentioned all of that mainly because the finale of Hawkeye didn't necessarily dovetail into No Way Home, but it kind of did, sort of reinforce this whole shared universe aspect of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that everyone knows and understands. I think people are finally understanding. You sort of do need to watch the Marvel TV shows. I mean, it's
I
not required reading, but man, you miss out if you don't. And
Now you'll be straight up confused. I mean, just to put it in perspective, my friend Anthony's little brother refused to watch What If. He thought What If was non-canon or anything like that. But then, like he said, Anthony, his girlfriend, his Anthony's girlfriend's sister, who all watched What If, they all went to the movies together with Anthony's little brother, and those three jumped up when they saw that character that we think is Strange Supreme. Anthony's brother's like, wait, there's another Doctor Strange, and Anthony
look
told me they all
sideways at
looked at
them.
him and was like, huh. They're all like, exactly, you should have watched What If.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
and to that effect, I say, all you people need to be watching or should have watched. You should have watched Hawkeye. Um,
yeah,
and we're this is sort of I guess we're reviewing the whole series, but just my take on it's been a couple weeks since it's been out. My take on it. What a great I hope it's a season finale, not a series finale. But if it is a series finale, great series finale. What is it just? It was just fun. There was some. I mean, like there was some real emotional stuff going on, like the bit where Clint and Yelena had it out. They had their little Batman v Superman fight, uh, and I really loved that. But there's an awful lot of just fun. The show is fun. Like this is, in fact, it is out of all of the Disney Plus offerings from Marvel this year. It is the most fun and least, lowest stakes as far as like the world uh, show, and I'm there for it. We need more fun in the MCU. Damn it, we have
yes,
not had an Ant-Man movie in a while. We need more fun in the MCU, and Hawkeye was just fun.
yes.
Like the most serious it got was, spoilers if you hadn't seen it. I'm just going to spoil it. There's no reason not to. It's been 2 weeks. You can watch it. Uh, Finding out that, as you said, you fucking called it. Eleanor was kind of dirty, and was doing shit for the kingpin. Yes, we got to see the kingpin. Yes, that motherfucker is. Yes, he's probably superpowered. He is the live action equivalent to that kingpin we saw in Into the Spider Verse, where he is able to take heavy punishment. I was trying to tell people
Yes.
online. They're like, "When did he become superpowered?" I'm like, "This is the kingpin in the comics. Spider Man punches him and he gets up and gives Spider Man the business. People don't
Yeah,
get that. They don't understand. The kingpin gives Spider Man the business. So and Spider Man takes hits from like Rhino and from he's been hit by Juggernaut and shit like that. So yeah, we got to see that. But this show was fun. The finale was fun. There's a there were so many fun, ridiculous things like the trick arrows and what I would call the Burly Man brawl. You remember from Matrix
yeah,
Reloaded, the Burly brawl, and you had the two Hawkeyes on the ice, trick arrowing everything. Just callbacks to stuff like that. Yeah, I mean there wasn't enough echo in it, but when she was cool. The Kingpin fight was cool as hell. Yelena and Kate just kind of like being, like best bro. You ever, Step Brother, the movie Step Brothers? They're like best
yeah.
bros and Step Brother. God dang it, I love this show. I know you weren't hot on the first couple episodes and everything, but damn it, I love this show from episode 1 to episode 6. I had a big ass smile on my face every episode. I had so much fun watching it. I love Kate Bishop. She's the hero we need, not because she's like all grim dark or anything. She's just happy. She wants to be a superhero. And she's gonna take some licks and stuff, but she's just so happy to meet her idol and try to work with him and to try to be the best Hawkeye she can. Yelena is a stone cold killer, but my God, is she fun to watch when she's with Kate Bishop. You know,
Yep.
I want to see them go on a Thelma and Louise road trip. That's what I want like I would love that. I love seeing Jack, who we thought was a bad guy, but he's just a dude that loves swords and he's a little dim and he's doing his whole Zorro impression on the Tracksuit Mafia. And the Tracksuit Mafia are dangerous, but man, they are fun though. They're hilarious. Like what? I'm just saying, I love this show. Is it my favorite out the MCU shows? It's not, but damn it, it was fun. I loved watching this show. I loved watching Clint. I just every bit of it. I love it so much. I want a second season of this. I need a second season of this show. Okay, I've gushed enough. What did you think?
I think talking
Y-
about the whole show.
Yeah, or the last episode, but also yes, the whole show.
So like I said, the beginning of the show, I felt like wasn't I didn't it didn't appeal to me as much, but the show started getting better and better and better, and the more as it began to improve, I began to really really start getting into the show, and I loved it. I especially towards the end, I loved the show. I loved it. I absolutely like the way the freaking just introducing the pin, man, the kingpin. And I mean, if anybody doesn't understand that the kingpin is literally he can mess some people up, man. And that's why I was like watching, especially the final episode. I was like, Kate Bishop. I mean, come on now, and it's not gonna work. Come on, stop it. Just like
Right.
please. But oh man, I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. Like you said, it's not my favorite one, but I can definitely move it up towards more of the higher of the MCU shows that I watched. The ending, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people say, "Oh no, why would you bring back the Kingpin and he dies from that gunshot?" I'm like, if you really think the Kingpin died from that, he's not
I
dead.
ain't seen nobody.
Kingpin is not dead.
Where's the body?
He's not
Yeah,
dead.
come. Yeah, yeah, man. That's one thing that they're gonna have to act. One thing the MCU has done poorly, I think, which is they forget that you don't need to kill every fucking villain. Now, when they like, oh, I heard a gunshot, he's dead. I'm like, he's literally not dead. Trust me on this. This man, didn't you see him get shot with an arrow in the chest?
Yeah.
Unless she shot him in the face, and I can guarantee she didn't. We didn't see him drop. We didn't see anything, so he's alive. Like, y'all chill out. He's gonna come back. That'd be the dumbest thing that Marvel has ever done, and I have never gotten the impression that anybody at Marvel is stupid. Like that'd be stupid, stupid, stupid. So, um, yeah, this they had so much good in this show, and I can tell you, like, if they do another season, I think it would be not welcomed, and also they should do more like this. Remember, I was saying before that and I think you agree with me that it's time for them to do more street level stuff like this. To me, this was the opening of the street level Marvel universe side of the universe because when you have Kingpin, who is, as we said before, is sort of like the Thanos of the street level situation, right? We've established Clint and Kate Bishop working together. Yelena's running around. Everybody that was in this show, none of them had superpowers. The closest who you would say had quote superpowers was the Kingpin, just because he can take a shit ton of punishment and he's pretty strong. And we need
He can
that.
expose his face.
I absolutely want this to be the start. of the street level side, where we don't have to be fighting for the fate of the universe. What they were fighting for in here was Kate to not get caught up in Hawkeye's crap. And there are many aspects. It doesn't just have to be crime in New York. There's a little bit of a like a hint at something big, not bigger, but like bigger in terms of like that other street, lower level characters. And we saw that you know Clint's wife Laura used to be a Shield agent, which I speculated she must have been a Shield agent at one time, right? And she
Yep.
was. She was Agent 19, which is in the comics will be Mockingbird. So I'm just like, oh, y'all gonna get Linda Cardellini, who plays Laura. She's gonna do more in the MCU. Hell yeah, I want to see that. This is this all this that we've been watching here. The power, the power broker. She's still running around, right, out over in Madripoor. There is so much real estate that they don't explore because people have gotten used to this high stakes, world ending stuff. And now Spider Man is in the mix again too because of No Way Home. He's back to street level stuff. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm excited for this. I cannot wait till they ramp it down and then still have compelling stories that don't require the Avengers. Or at least we get the
Yep.
street level, to get the Defender street level Avengers, that sort of thing. Get the Netflix people up in there. Hell yeah, let's just go. That's what I'm saying. So, I don't know. You had any other thoughts on Hawkeye besides just go watch that shit?
No, that's really it.
Yeah,
Honestly, nothing else. Just like you said, go watch it.
yeah, absolutely. We enjoyed it. Highly recommended. So great way to end out the year for the MCU's Disney Plus offerings. So anyway, what did you guys think about the show? And do you agree, disagree? Have something to say to us about what this show? Why don't you get down to the comments? Let us know. Of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow at gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. Let's chop it up, speculate, all that fun stuff. All right. So we're gonna move on to like kind of the meat of this episode, which is the best of 2021. Superheroes were killing the game literally last year. Just as we said before, top four movies of the year were superhero films. We got some new properties, old properties, non Marvel stuff, all that fun stuff. DC even sort of tried to try to step into the game. They unfortunately did not release any movies this year, but they did do some TV stuff. All that. There's a quite a busy year. Um, hey Lottie, is are people tired of superhero things now? Is there superhero fatigue yet?
I know the superhero fatigue you speak of.
I swear to God, people keep asking that dumbass question. The answer is hell no, hell to the no. Um, 20. There's. I don't want to list everything superhero that 2021 had. It was a lot, you know. We talked about some of the stuff on this show, like Jupiter's Legacy, not good, right?
Yeah.
We there was a Modoc stop motion show. I didn't really care for it. Um, there's a lot of other comic book things that were going on this year. But we have our top 10. And we're going to run through our top 10 for the year in no particular order, except I think I'm going to reserve the most obvious one for the end. What I probably consider probably the best thing that happened in superhero stuff this year. So I'm just going to randomly pick out of our 10 things. Again, in no particular order except for the last one. And this is the one I actually can't even speak to, so I'm just gonna let Lottie. I'm gonna let you talk about it. But I've heard many good things about this, and I have it sitting and waiting for me. And that's the Guardians of the Galaxy game that came out for was it PlayStation this year?
Yep.
PlayStation 4 and 5. I have a copy of it sitting on my coffee table. I just need to break it open, but I have it on good authority that it is actually a great game. So, what do you think, Lottie?
Might be a little controversial what I'm going to say, but I feel that this game And I know we picked on it a little bit when it was first coming out. We called it the Guardians of the Galaxy, the after takes or whatever. I'm gonna tell you this from the little bit of the game that I have played. This is the best we have seen the Guardians of the Galaxy outside of comic book form.
How dare you, sir?
It is. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It is better than the movie. I'm telling you. I love
Well,
the
if you
first
say
Guardians of the Galaxy.
if you say better than Guardian of the Galaxy 2, I mean, I probably wouldn't fight you on that. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but those are high words of praise, sir.
It is. This is the best you will see the Guardians of the Galaxy, even than the movie. I'm gonna be. I mean, I agree. What we're getting from this book, I mean, from this game, is because of the first Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of their characters are based off of that, but they have done it. Like, think of the original Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Throw in caffeine, steroids, Coca Cola, 80s, everything good about the 80s. Shake it up in a can and just consume it all at once. And that is what you get from this game. It is the best I have from the little bit of I played of the game. I have laughed harder than I did watching the movie because I feel like the characters in the movie, they can only do so much. But in this game, it's literally like the characters from the movie, but they're let loose. Like they're not being restrained by plot. They're not being restrained by anything. They are able to let loose. We're getting the like what we think of Star Lord. We're getting that Star Lord. No holds bar. Same thing with Drax, Groot, Rocket, Gamora. It is such a great game. Like honestly, I thought Spider-Man was the only time that we can get a good Spider-Man and Batman. I thought were the only like good superhero games, but I was completely wrong. Like this game is great, man, and I'm just being honest. Just being honest, it is better than the movie. Just being honest.
Well, like I said, I don't have anything to say about it except that I've heard that it's really good. So I'm going to take your take your word on that. It is it is the one. Um, so I'm looking. I actually really quite looking forward to that. So moving on to our next one, the MCU kind of went ham this year. So much so that, if I'm not mistaken, basically every one of the shows are kind of included in our top. So
Mhm.
I want to talk about what WandaVision, which was the first one of the year, and what is it's hard to underscore how big of a win this was for the MCU and for Disney Plus, because I swear for like what's this 8 weeks or something, 6 or 7 weeks, because they gave us the first what they gave us the first 2 or 3 episodes in one shot, and then we had like six more after that. So like for the first 7 weeks, people were talking about this fucking show nonstop, right?
Yeah.
It showed that Marvel really was serious about TV shows and that they were breaking the mold, if you will. They weren't going to just do regular stuff. They, different. They show, hey, every episode doesn't have to be a certain length. We can, in fact, play around with format and we're telling a real serious story here in the context of a superhero thing. There's a lot of zany shit going on in there. Its framing device is, there's sitcoms throughout the years. There's a lot of weird zany ass crap going on in this, and outside of that, real MCU stuff is going on, and we get we get characters we hadn't seen before, or we haven't seen in a long time. People who they do callbacks to characters. There's there's some weird mystical shit. you know, there's so much room for speculation, which is probably the biggest part of WandaVision. I mean, and we get, I mean, at the it so I think it sort of doesn't end as well as it began and proceeded, but it has a pretty typical superhero ending. But everything leading up to that end was interesting as hell, and they pull some real shit on us, and this the whole Quicksilver thing. Like
Oh yeah.
they were doing some stuff, and everyone kept being like, "Is Mephisto around?" Um, and my God, I loved it. I loved the way it's set up. That's when I started saying about the whole smooth criminals, thing. But can you see that now that at the end of the year, can you see how smoothly they set up so much shit that we are anticipating now?
Yep.
It's
I
crazy.
can't. Yeah, that was WandaVision will always hold a special place in my heart because it was the first. WandaVision was sort of like the. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was the testing ground or anything because they already had these TV shows already made, so they were gonna come out regardless. But it was the first one to get the world to recognize that, oh, the MCU is making TV shows now, you know, and it did its job very well. It was like I said, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care who you are. You cannot tell me that the first couple episodes are kind of weird, and you're like, "What is this?" And then you're like, "Oh, okay, I understand what's going on." You
Hmm.
know what I mean? It That was really good writing upon his part. Like I said, the final episode, the little pew 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 witch shooting laser beams at each other.
Right.
They made up with it with the quote unquote Naruto fake out that turns out Wanda had control the whole time. And honestly, I asked this question to quite a bit of my friends. How do we know that Agatha ever was ever in control? How do we know that Wanda's powers purposely let her there and let her do that stuff so she could bring so her powers could bring out, because the way they talk about Wanda's powers, it's almost like it's a manifestation of its own. Like this, I'm not saying it's sentient, but it has a will of its own. And how do we know that Agatha the whole time was only was able to break out of the spell only because her powers, not Wanda, her powers allowed it to happen.
Hmm. Well, we're gonna find out, I think, because of course, Agatha is gonna have her own show, and we will be seeing Wanda again in Multiverse of Madness. So, great
Yeah.
show. Definitely deserved to be in the top 10 for the year. Um, s- Moving on to, I think this is a recent one and one that doesn't get enough love, and that's Hit Monkey. Dang it, people! Y'all need to watch that show.
Let
A
me
lot of
see.
y'all slept on it. You don't have Hulu or some shit like that. Y'all slept on it, and it's animated. It's not real. It's probably not really in the MCU or anything. I don't give a damn. Yes, it's a movie, or it's a TV show about a monkey that's being haunted, and it's taking place in Japan in the Marvel universe. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's just fucking awesome. That's ain't no other words to say it. It's
I
if
feel
you
like some
No, I was gonna say
Oh, go ahead.
if you like John Wick, if you like Kill Bill, any of that, any kind of like the Yakuza type movies. Like you play Yakuza. I never play Yakuza, but I've seen people play it. Did it not feel like those games?
Yes. That
It's absolutely amazing. It's an amazing show.
yes. I feel like a lot of people, even people who watch the show, they had such negative mindsets towards it that they started like I had a friend who watched it, right? But he went into the show with such a negative mindset. He started nitpicking stuff where I'm like, bruh, come on, man. Like he's like, oh man, he was like the frame rate. I was like, bro,
Are you
stop it.
serious? Are you fucking
I was like,
serious?
my God. I was like, you're just trying to find something. I said, man, you're literally trying to find something bad with the show. It's a good show, man. Just watch it. Just watch it. It's like the frame rate.
Oh, it is just look. Like there are the thing is there are superpowered people in the show. There are characters that are they're deep cut characters in this show. So if you are a comic fan, you'll be like, hell yeah. Even if you're not a comic fan, you're just like, I don't know who this person is, but they're badass. It's got a great villain. Like the villain and then the villain. You know, it's Lady Bullseye is terrifying,
Oh
right?
yes. Oh yes. And
And to see the evolution of Hit Monkey into like, you know, what he from just a monkey into like this ass kicker, and Bryce, you know, and that's just it's so much good to I remember watching it, I was like, oh, you know, I don't have high hopes for this because, you know, Modoc wasn't that good. And then just like I was like, I think this is actually pretty awesome. Yeah, and then
yes.
like the third episode, I was like, yeah, this is god damn, this is awesome. And now I'm like just telling you, I'm like, you need to watch this. Oh, it's just it's so good. It's so good that I am. It disappoints me that I know it's not going to get another season.
It hurts me deep. It hurts me deep, man. It hurts
That's
me deep. I would love for him to be in Shang-Chi too. Like I would love for them to have a movie. Just set it up that Shang-Chi something about Shang-Chi gotta get in Japan. And
I don't, yeah, I
they
don't even
can
need that. Just somebody hire him to go kill Shang. I don't
yeah,
know
there's
anything.
something. Yeah, I would just love where like what's like Shang-Chi's like, we need to do something, and Wong is like, I know a guy. And he's like, what? And like you get a knock on the door and they're looking, ooh, and they look down to see a monkey in a suit. I would love for that. I would love to see that,
Stop,
but
we
probably not gonna happen.
stop writing movies that I'll never see. Damn it. Yeah, we could gush over some more. Hit Monkey's awesome. You should have watched it. If you didn't watch it, it's on Hulu. Get to it, man. It's so good.
Yes,
So such a good thing.
great show.
Um, kind of following it. I want to say sort of thematically because it was Hit Monkey is very rated R. Um, the best rated R superhero thing of the year. Fight me on this. The Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah,
Fucking a, I love that movie.
that was a good ass movie.
I I literally just somebody I follow on Twitter was just like this movie sucks, and I was like, no.
Fuck you.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I respect your opinion, but I don't agree with you at all. And had to expound on why. It's look, it is crass. Is that it is potty mouth, and it's violent as shit, and it's funny, and it's like and through all of that, it's a movie of pretty terrible people doing pretty terrible things, but they're a team together and they have to work together, and then the actual human connections happen between. I mean, it made you feel for a fucking man-eating humanoid shark that was running around biting people in half. And at some point, you were like, "Oh man, no!" You know, you're feeling something for this guy. All the
Look it up,
crazy
man.
these crazy D-list characters and stuff. All this. It's you know, I think its biggest sin is that it's a little bloated in some ways. There's a little too much in it, but excuse me, man. Gosh, there's a lot to love in it.
And
Yeah.
and I will always quote this because from you. There was a fucking starfish in this damn
It's a
movie.
fucking
A
story.
fucking starfish. I mean, they made a fucking starfish horrifying. A fucking starfish.
Yeah, it's look, it's got Starro in it, and like if you know anything about DC, you're like, oh shit, Starro, and yeah, it is like that, you know. But there's horror elements because James Gunn is you know he's directed horror and stuff like that. It's funny. There's some deaths in there because it's called Suicide Squad. People are supposed to die. Some people die in I'm like, there's a lot of killing in this, and some of it very hilarious and played for laughs. But there's a death in there that's not played for laughs, and it hit hard. There's a death that hits really
Pissed
hard
me off.
in the episode in the movie. And there's like Ratcatcher 2 is just kind of a, just my favorite character in the whole thing. You know, you're not supposed to like these people. Not in the sense you're supposed to like them because you want them to win, but you're supposed to know these people are kind of shit. And Ratcatcher 2 is just not. She's unbelievably optimistic in a situation that clearly she shouldn't be. That
Hmm.
there's a lot more to it. I love the Suicide Squad. I will defend that till I die. It's a great movie. I understand why some people didn't like it, but I think it's damn good, and it deserved to be on the top 10.
Yes, it was a great movie. Great
Uh,
movie.
yeah. Um, so we're gonna stick with DC, and this is what a revelation this was. I'm not. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one. But Harley Quinn, the animated series on HBO Max, again R-rated. What a fucking revelation that show is. It is so damn good. So anyway, I have more thoughts, but yeah, what did you think about Harley Quinn?
Harley Quinn is so good, it's frustrating. It's so good that it's frustrating. And I mean like this. Where the fuck is this DC? Where is this? Why? First of all, the movie is terribly marketed. I mean, the TV show is terribly marketed.
Hmm.
Like, there's a lot of people that don't even know this shit exists. Like, just think about this. Let's put this in perspective. We're not gonna say the live action movies. What if everybody knew what if was? But nobody knows that there's a Harley Quinn TV show on H. I know people who have HBO Max that didn't know that shit was on there. They're like, "What? There's a Harley Quinn TV show?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's fucking good." And they're like, "God, why?" And they're even saying it. Why is DC not advertising this shit? Because honestly, man, it's one of the best animated shows this year,
Hmm.
and it's such a good show. Oh man, the Clayface being a a up and coming actor, and the way he pronounces "I am an actor." Shark Shark Face
What's yeah,
is a
King Shark, yeah.
I mean King Shark is a freaking stay at home nerd that
He's like
that is
tech
good at
support.
hacking. You- Then you got a misogynist, sexist, racist as
The
a
Dr.
damn
Psycho, yeah.
Dr. Psycho. Then you got a old assassin turned into a cyborg. Oh, the show is just over the top in all the good ways. And I just love how everybody in the show has a sense of humor. Batman, he's like, so you I just like to say, so you found the he's like, so you found the it's like, so you pressed the button, didn't you, Harley Quinn? He was like, yeah. He was like, we're not friends, we're just partners. My screensaver just showed up, didn't it? Then fucking Joker finds out that Bruce Wayne is fucking Batman. He's like, where's my fucking car, Bruce? Where's my fucking car? Oh man, I just love that show. The sense of humor and the over the topness was so good. I binge watched that show at work. That's how much I love that show. I watched that shit at work. And real talk, I had people come over and be like, "Oh wait, you watching Harley Quinn?" And I was like, "Yeah." God, that show was so good.
It is, yeah.
So,
It's if you, I think if you like the Suicide Squad, it's definitely for you. It's R-rated as hell. I mean, it's you know, potty mouth as they say, lots of cursing and everything. But it's um, Harley's a great protagonist, and her cast of characters are fucking awesome. There's some real shit going on there. Like this is not just like throwaway anything. It's like real, some real heart, it's great action, some real like funny commentary, all that stuff, and some great cameos from the fucking Dark Side is in this. Like, I'm just saying, if you love the DC universe, it's deep cuts, but also if you don't know shit about it, it still works. I think it's hilarious. It's great. One of the best things that I think DC has done. Period. But definitely one of the best things they've done in the past 5 years. Absolutely great. Can't wait for the next season. Um, moving on from Harley Quinn, since we're talking about animated stuff, where this is more PG-13. Marvel's What If. God, it's hard to underscore how great this show is. Even though every episode isn't great, I'm gonna say that straight
Yeah.
up. Every episode, but it's great in the sense that again, the smooth criminals over there are prepping us. They're priming the pump, if you will, for Multiverse of Madness and for No Way Home to let you know the the multiverse is a thing, and they show you it sparks the imagination is what I would say, because let's be honest, people who watch, and that we love these things, but those of us, those people who only watch superheroes in live action or whatever, what they suffer from is is a lack of imagination, or because they don't want to speculate, they just want things presented, they want to speculate about everything, but that's sort of the fun of being a comic book nerd, is being like, well, well, if this didn't happen, if that didn't happen, or who would win in a fight. That sort of creativity in your mind is kind of what sparked. And What If gives voice to the speculation. It's literally a bunch of nerds saying, well, what if this happened? What would have happened? And showing how they happen. Not everyone's gold, but most of it is. I mean, if I love What If for if for no other reason, it gave us it gave us T'Challa the Star Lord. That's it.
I,
If they, for nothing else, they would win for that alone, but that is not even it. They give us so many other great characters and great situations. I can't
the
sing
simple
praises enough.
fact, like you said, not every episode was great, but there were like 3 episodes that I would love to actually see them get their own series or actually show up in the main MCU. And I would love to see uh Peggy Carter's Captain America. I mean Britain
Or,
America.
or
I
it's,
mean
it's, shit,
Captain
they call her
Britain.
Captain. They call her Captain Carter, but I get it.
Yeah, I would love to see Captain Carter show up in something in the MCU of like with the multiverse stuff. We might get Strange Supreme.
Hmm.
Might. I would love to see, but unfortunately, God rest his soul. You know, he. We will love. I would love to see Superior Star Lord, but God rest his soul. Unless they get another actor, we're not going to see that in
Right.
the MCU. And and I guess I would love to see the Spider Man. I
Yeah.
mean, not the was the zombie stuff with all the
Yeah.
because first of
Unfortunately,
all, how did
unfortunately, I
they
think he's dead.
survive?
Unfortunately, I think he's dead. I think zombie Thanos probably killed him.
Well, but
hate to say that.
I don't think he's dead. I think he's alive because if you think about it, they took them out of their time. Not just did he take them out on the ship? Probably did.
Well,
Probably
that's
took
my
'em out.
thing, is that at the end of that they were headed towards zombie Thanos. So I'm pretty sure they're dead. I think that particular universe is done for, and we saw that they used it. They kind of weaponized it against against Ultron. So, but there, I think the thing is that, and we're getting another season of it. So the thing is that I love the show for giving voice to the whole nerdy idea that you can look at various parts of the MCU, that things that happen, and look at them in a different way, that things could have gone differently. I think it was
And then
very very well realized, and also this shit is clearly having an actual effect on the real MCU. So you can't even bypass it like it's fake, you know?
yeah, you have to watch it. It's canon. And then How many fucking universes Tony Stark destroyed? God damn, Stone.
Ruining
Fuck it.
everything.
Just can't just sit your ass down at home. Always got to fuck something up.
Right.
He's on the scoreboard. Which universe I could fuck up the most this time?
uh, Speaking of multiverse thing, what the only reason What If can even exist is yet another Marvel property, and that's Loki. Um, it's hard to talk about Loki um, without mentioning the multiverse, because it's literally about the multiverse. But it's making all of the multiverse. It makes No Way Home is possible. What If is possible, and Multiverse of Madness is possible because of Loki. But it's next to WandaVision. They're the best about exploring the characters that we've known for a while. We've seen Loki since basically since 2010, right? And to see a whole show about him looking at himself, looking at his life, and saying, "Oh, I'm I'm not the hero. I'm the one destined to just fuck things up in order to make other people better." And then trying to take control of his narrative. But also, we got to see the alternate, as they say, the variants. And we get introduced to some pretty badass Loki variants, in particular Sylvie. And we get to see,
The Karen.
yeah, Karen Loki, the name Sylvie. And we also get to see a variant of who's possibly the most dangerous villain that the MCU has ever had, in the form of Kang the Conqueror. But this one's he runs the multiverse. He's kept the multiverse in check for time without end. And to kind of see all of that play itself out till we see who the ringmaster is, and how we're going to see a more dangerous version of him in Ant Man. It was just great. I had a great time with the show. Um, just personally.
Honestly, it was my favorite MCU show until What If showed up. It was my favorite. It was like, oh, I just the way it ended, and just the opportunities we knew because of like Loki to me gets my stamp of approval of maybe I might go back and say it's the best one because this one opened what if I mean not what if the best Spider-Man movie of all time would not exist without Loki. Loki opened that possibility up.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? We have to thank Loki for that. Everybody who did not watch Loki and watch Spider-Man, you better give this man a standing ovation and go watch his damn show because that movie would not exist without Loki. Like real talk, that movie only exists because of Loki. The multiverse exists because of him. The TV show, all of this, like that's where I probably will go back and say, yeah, it is the best one. It's not my favorite. What If is my favorite
Hmm.
because of the few episodes of What If were so good that I will put it as my favorite. But Loki was the best one because it opened the MCU to everything. It opened it up to what to the endless possibilities, man. I mean,
Right.
come on, man. There's just I don't know how true these rumors are, but there's rumors that they might make a Spider-Man 4 and a Spider-Man 3. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But
And we're definitely getting a second season of Loki. So there's
yes.
there's more there's more to be told about that. I'm looking forward to it. Um, we had the last MCU TV show we're going to talk about this. There's been a lot of TV this year because movies were more or less relegated to the latter half of the year. Um, Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I guess I'll say this is a late edition. If I had to say it's out of everything on this list, I'd say it's number 10 on the list. Not because I don't love it. It's not that. It's just that in terms of all of the things there's a lot of game changing shit on this list. Falcon and Winter Soldier is really more of a nod towards your conventional MCU experience. This isn't a bad thing. I'm not shitting on it because of that. I'm actually saying it's great because it got us back in the groove of what the MCU is. Uh, Black Widow was very much in a similar vein, but we got we got a pretty normal MCU show, but where it really shined to me, where it shined was it talked about a lot of real shit. So we an off
Yeah.
one thing the MCU can be faulted for, in my eyes, is trying to sort of gloss over or paper over the less you know palatable aspects of human nature and of history. One of the most egregious being that in Captain America, the first Avenger, they sort of gloss over Nazis in favor of making Hydra. Hydra's their science wing, Hydra, but they don't have to use swastikas so much. They use the Hydra symbol instead. That's not cool. I mean, I love the Captain America, the first Avenger. That part's not cool about it. And so Falcon and the Winter Soldier does something. I was surprised. They talk about some real shit in this. It's the gist of it is Sam Wilson is snapped back. He comes back in the blip. Captain America's like, I'm old and I'm not going to do this anymore. Here's your shield, and he has to wrestle with the idea of whether or not he actually should be Captain America, right? And it's lit. Yes, let's talk about it. It's talking about race and race relations and the way people have been treated in this country. The way the fact that maybe Thanos had a fucking point about you know getting rid of half the people, not because it's cool to get rid of half the people, but because of the way the society had to change in order to deal with the fact that half the people were dead or gone or whatever. And it changed
Yep.
society and changing. And now we want to go back to the way it was before. Maybe not everyone wants that. We saw a little bit of that in Hawkeye about people saying Thanos was right. You know,
Yep.
what's not that he was right the way he's going about it. They saying what if he's like, yes, but my plan. Thanos kept trying to be like, well, but my plan. I wasn't wrong, and like you were, but you weren't in some ways. But the point is that we got to see Sam Wilson wrestle with this. We got to see, Isaiah Bradley, who was, an unfortunate byproduct of racism, even though he's should have been Captain America probably, right? We saw
Yep.
that. We saw the way people are treated, and we saw the way the U.S. government was sort of just, its agenda doesn't necessarily, lead to any kind of justice or anything like that. I loved it just for that. Now, yeah, it had the villains weren't great, but we saw some great things, and we saw the reconciliation of Sam Wilson. Not a reconciliation, but kind of a forging of a brotherhood between Sam and Bucky, and I loved it.
Yep.
I really liked that.
And I completely agree. I completely agree. It's what's Captain America, in my opinion, was it's the Marvel superhero that's the closest to what I feel that any and I'm talking about Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is what any person this of who is Caucasian will want to be. A good person that believes in doing the right thing above all things. That's what a good
Well,
person
I would
will
I
want
would
to
say
be.
I would say just anybody. Period. No, but
Yeah,
I get
anybody.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like it,
his
like
model. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And it's because, like you said, it's one of those things that the Captain America is a character that you have to use. You have to have actual racial, political, and stuff to talk about because what is his last name? I mean, his name is Captain America. His name is not Captain World. His name is not Captain Rogers. His name is Captain America. And what is happening in America? You know,
right,
you can't run from this. You cannot. I don't care if you call your character Captain America, you cannot run from what is going on. There's a lot of anger and going on, and having a character that is black to be Captain America is going to be controversial if in their MCU or in our world where they don't exist. There are people that are mad that in both worlds, the fictional world and in the real world, that there is going to be a black Captain America. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I just happy that I'm not going to say Disney, that Kevin Feige and the MCU didn't run away from it. They knew that this was going to happen, and they showed, because this plays in a lot of, not just, see, that played on a lot of words as well with what was the guy's name again? The guy who was the black Captain America,
Oh, Isaiah Bradley.
Isaiah Bradley. There was a lot of black men that fought in World War II, in World War One, World War II, Vietnam, and they don't get recognition for it. And I'm talking about war heroes, men that saved lives, but they're not recognized for it. This is playing upon what's happening in the real world. There's a lot of men, black women, not just Hispanic men, men of color, women of color, that put their lives on the line in war and they're not being recognized for it. And they use that and put it in a superhero sense. And I appreciate them for that. And
Mhm.
that's where Captain America, I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is gonna hold a special place in my heart, because it's not just because of the racial issues they talked about. It's the character development, because, like I said, they had a perfect example of, what's that guy's name? What's the white dude's, his name's just
Walker.
Walker. What did I say? He is what Captain America is, what a Caucasian man will want to be, a good person no matter what. He will do the right thing. He took the super soldier serum, and it sort of led him on a down path. But you could see Walker chose the right thing. Instead of going after old chick, he went to go save those people. And as you
Right.
can see, Walker doesn't have a racist bone in his body. His best friend is black.
Yeah.
And it's not like that's like his brother. And it led him to a fit of rage, because he didn't kill that guy because he's a bad person. He he killed him because his best friend, his brother, who is black, died. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
come on now. I don't. We can all sit here and throw stones at Walker, but
Yeah.
how many of you guys would get mad if someone killed your brother?
Right.
Because that was his brother. That is his brother. It's not his friend. That is his brother. He went to the family and cried with them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there is great character development. I mean, the main, you know, Sam, Bucky, and Isaiah Bradley. The as I call him Walmart Captain America, but John Walker. He his turnaround. There was, I mean, it was just good. It was good stuff. I think
Mm.
I want another season. We're not getting it, but we are getting Captain America 4, so, and we'll definitely see all of them soon. Well, I know we're running a bit long, but we got three to go, and the three best. I'd save the best for last. Shang-Chi. We're on a Marvel kick right now. Why not do this for real? Holy shit. Who knew we were gonna get like the best damn martial arts movie the MCU's ever had, and a legit like Hong Kong kung fu thing
Yeah.
in the MCU with definite ties to the MCU because we see Wong in there, we see Black Widow and whatever, and just we see an origin story. It's been a while since we've had an origin story, right, in the MCU, and
Yeah.
it's a fucking legit origin story, full of, with starring a badass martial arts guy, his badass dad, who's apparently a conqueror. Which, by the way, Marvel, if y'all don't show us him getting his ass whooped by the Black Panther, Wenwu, if we don't see Wenwu getting his ass whooped by the Black Panther at some point, y'all are doing it wrong, you know.
Yeah.
But Wenwu being a badass conqueror that was apparently Genghis Khan at some time, his badass daughter, his badass wife, in flashbacks, and a big Cthulhu monster that gets fought by a dragon and the Ten Rings, and I could keep going. It's a kick ass ride from start to finish. I believe in Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi's a badass. He's gonna be on the Avengers. What the fuck else do I need to say? It was legit. It was the real deal. I don't get all the haters want to be like, oh, it didn't really make that much. Man, this is a brand new character that literally nobody knew except unless you are a Marvel head. Nobody knew who the hell he was. And I'm telling you, every single person that I know that watches MCU movies, but they don't read the comics, they don't know shit about anything. Every single one of them that watched this loved it. It's legit. It's a legit movie.
Yeah. Oh, this movie was good. Oh, this movie was so damn good. I was watching it with my brother while I was upgrading his PC. My goodness. Talk about what a wild ride, man. That was a fucking roller coaster. And I mean not a bad roller coaster. I'm talking about geez, man, I enjoyed that movie. Why does it? Why? So I got to ask you this real quick, and
Mm-hmm.
we didn't talk about this in the review. Why is it in every kung fu movie slash like why do they always got to fight on a train or a bus? They always fight either on a train or a bus. Remember Wolverine did it. I all every time it's something kung fu or anything like they always got to fight in a train or a bus. But
Because they
that
must. Because it's awesome. That's why.
because yeah, oh man, it was so good. That movie was good. The final part where he's doing like freaking
Kamehameha.
ninjutsu. No, I'm talking about like sealing jutsu
Yeah.
to seal away the. I was just like, is he doing hand signs?
He did a fly. Do you remember? You remember Kung Fu Hustle? You remember at the
Yeah.
very end of Kung Fu Hustle, he did the flying Buddha palm. He was doing that
Yeah.
shit. it's look. Uh, I said it. Shang Chi's awesome. I love. What a great entry into the MCU, and just what a great win for Marvel. But like, what a great win for us as fans of superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Um,
I loved it.
the next thing, this to me, this is the second best thing that happened in superhero things this year. I think you'll agree with me. Invincible.
Mm.
What the actual fuck? Why is that such a great show?
That show was
The thing is,
good.
I knew the story going into it. It is such a great show. It's an anime. The second best thing of superhero thing this year was an animated show for Amazon Prime. Not high. It's not an expensive show. You can tell from the animation they didn't spend a ton of money on it in animation wise. But my God, the story is so good. It's so even knowing what's going to happen, I was still blown away by this show. It's about the son of Superman essentially coming into his own, learning that being a superhero is deadly and hard, and then oh yeah, my dad's evil. And It's such a brutal show. It's a brutal show. There's a lot of blood, but seeing Mark kind of come into his own and then having to deal with the absolute betrayal that is his dad. Just this show blows me away. I've never that show I recommended to more people. I was like, you have to watch. You gotta watch this. Watch this show. I'm telling you, it's like I don't care if it's animated. I know that is a sticking point for a bunch of people. Forget that. It's so good. It's the second
Yes.
best superhero thing this year. Straight up.
I've I've been trying to get people. I'm like, guys, watch the show, man. They're like, why? And I'm like, guys, this show is so damn good. I mean, it perfectly mixed an anime like story with American comic book tradition to where it's like it's a coming of age story where one of the things that I feel that a lot of American comic books have lacked, but they're getting better at, is that they always have they always have the main character just good because he's good. I loved the thing I love about Invincible. He Mark had to make a conscious decision to be a good person and do the right thing. And this was not like an easy choice. This is going against his father.
Hmm.
Oh, and I'm
It's
sorry,
going against his DNA. Let's be
his
honest.
DNA. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you have even a decent relationship with your dad, that final scene before Omni Man leaves Earth will bring a tear to your eye because my God, man, it still gives me goosebumps when he said, "What will you have after 500 years?" And he said, "You, Dad." God,
Yeah.
that shit
Hmm.
still gives me goosebumps because I love my dad, and if I was Mark going through that same situation, I would say the same thing because I still love you, Dad. Even after all of this, you will still be my dad. And I'm just like, God, that hit me. Like it literally brought me to tears, man. I was
Hmm.
crying because that is huge, man. I know everybody that I've watched the show, man or woman, have all told me that final part about either made them cry or they were like at the cusp
You're
of
right.
about to shed a tear.
Yeah. I think it works so well. First of all, Robert Kirkman, and we already know he's a winner when it comes to making stuff. I mean, he's Walking Dead guy. But he kind of gets, to me, I always felt like he distilled what works about Peter Parker, right? You
Hmm.
could kind of look at Invincible as what if Peter Parker were Superboy, essentially. It plays out that story of a teenager in powers trying to figure out what to do with himself. Trying to learn the ropes, and it's just otherwise, it's just a brutal awakening for him. And just the dad thing and the betrayal, and his mom. His mom is so good. Like the supporting cast is so good.
Yep.
It's all the shocking moments. They are absolutely shocking. I get it. There's some brutal violence. A lot of horrible things happen in this show, but there's a lot of like real touching moments. There's real character development. It's I'm telling you, I am. It's maybe my most anticipated show of this coming year. I
Yeah.
think season two, and you know me, I got a flame going for like several things, like Miss Marvel. I'm like super on top of that. But Invincible season two, I'm anticipating that more than basically every other show this year. It's
Yep.
that serious. It's such a good show. If you haven't watched it, what are you doing with your life? Make it happen. So,
Yeah.
woo. So on
God,
that
that shit
note,
was good.
what could be bigger than that? I wonder what it could be. Thwip, thwip, thwip. Uh, it's currently tearing up the box office. Over at last I checked, 1,316,000,000 and counting worldwide. And without China, they're just like, well, we don't fucking need you, China. We
Hmm.
can we can make our billions without you.
I
Spider
feel
Man No
sorry for
Way Home,
everybody in
man.
China.
No, they're pirating it. They're watching it.
Yes.
They're doing it the old Chinese way. Um, no, Spider-Man No Way Home. What y'all saw a review. We're not gonna go too deep into it. Uh, just I don't want to say it's not the best Spider-Man. I hate to say that. No, actually, I don't hate to say that. I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is still the best Spider-Man movie that's ever been made. That said, I like it better. I think I like it definitely better than the Homecoming, and I hate. It's weird to say that. I love Homecoming and Far From Home, and I will even say I think I like it better than Spider-Man One and the Amazing Spider-Man movies and Spider-Man Three. I think it may be tied for me with Spider-Man Two. Uh, just a fucking awesome Spider-Man movie. A distillation of all that it is to be Spider-Man. Spy- Tom Holland Spider-Man becoming the Spider-Man we know he can be. And the Spider-Man we know he can be at the end of the day doesn't get what he wants and he's miserable because he has to do the right thing. And we get that. But we also get the loveliness of having our previous two beloved Spider-Man show up and other villains and all that, and this multiverse wackiness and the friends of Spider-Man and all that's it's just a big old pot of gumbo, a Spider-Man gumbo that it has a little bit of everything, for or maybe not gumbo, a Spider-Man crab boil where there's a little bit of every different kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Fuck, I love that movie. It's entertaining start to finish, and I was bouncing up and down in the theater and clapping, and everybody else was too. Because if you're a real one, you were clapping when the shit was going down, right? You were jumping up when the shit was going down. If you were a real one, you were on that shit. So yeah, Spider-Man: No Way Home probably the number one, in my opinion, superhero thing of the year.
Listen, the my nerdgasm during that movie was like on 10. I I I could barely keep myself in the fucking seat. I was I I can't Fevy could tell you too. That movie was so damn good. Man, I'm just gonna say this. If any of you people are watching this right now or listening to us, and you have not seen that movie, what in the fuck is wrong with you? Get your ass
Well, you know
to the
what?
theater
Let
right now
maybe
and
they
watch it.
well maybe they live in a place where they can't the theaters aren't open, or maybe they're just really concerned about COVID, um, or
Pirate it.
whatever. I don't unfortunate. So I'm not gonna completely get on their ass about it.
The
But no,
ones,
you're
okay,
right though.
the ones that
You're right
have the
though.
ability
Yeah.
to go and watch, go watch this damn movie. People are texting me like, is No Way Home worth it? Yes. And they're like, I repeat, I don't even get, they're like, explain. And I just put in all caps, yes. Come on, what is, yes. Just watch the damn movie. I don't need to explain nothing. This is a great movie. And it's like you said, this was a celebration of Spider Man. This was a Spider Man celebration. If you're a fan of because there's three generations of Spider Man. There's us, the generation that grew up with Tobey Maguire. Then there are the people that are like in their early 20s that grew up with um what's his name? Andrew
Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield. Yeah.
Then there's the generation, the younger generation that is in their teenagers that grew up with what's his name? Tom Holland.
Right.
This was a celebration. This is a movie of all ages. I repeat this. I saw a 6 and 8 year old standing on their damn feet. A 6 and 8 year old standing on their feet for this movie. If you haven't watched this movie and you're still debating on it, a 6 and 8 year old were so into the movie. A 6 and 8 year old got on their feet. If you do not understand the gravity of what I am saying, I don't know what the hell to tell you. Because that movie it's a celebration of Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse, great movie. I love it so much, and I agree with you. It is the better Spider-Man movie. But I would personally put this as my favorite Spider-Man movie because, listen, we didn't think this shit was possible.
Yeah.
Like, Into the Spider Verse is very possible because it's animated. But if you would have told me in 2019, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire is going to be in a Spider-Man movie at the end of 2021, I would say you're fucking drunk. There's
Uh-huh.
no fucking way. I would not believe you. This has opened up so many possibilities that literally at this point, I don't give a damn how outlandish of an idea you have for an MCU movie. I'll believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's opened up so much. And God, the possibilities are almost like they could literally make a series of what if movies. Like honestly.
Yeah. Now I think the thing about Spider-Man that works so well is that they were primed. We were
Yep.
primed for it. We were you and I. We didn't need. They didn't need to prime us for this. We are we've been well ready for these things. But the general audience could go into No Way Home and be completely ready for the fact that there are multiple these there's multiple universes and everything. They're ready
Yep.
thanks to Marvel's very astute preparation for people to understand that this is possible, right? And so when and we got that, and it's fan service in the best possible way. It gives you what you want. It touches on all of those the feelings you had for those previous movies, and it brings in, it's not just nostalgia, but it brings in like a good story that really builds up Tom Holland as a person. So or not Tom Holland, but Tom Holland's Peter Parker as a person, so that as he goes forward, he gets to take advantage of the experience of his other universe counterparts. And
Mhm.
maybe, yes, maybe we'll get more of this. That's the thing. It's possible. It's so possible. You know why? $1.3 billion is why. That's why. If we follow through and the next Venom makes near $1 billion, and Morbius and so forth and so on, Sony will make literally whatever the fuck we want because they see dollar signs, you know. And you know what's even smarter? They know that they've got the comic book whisperer or whisperers over at Marvel Studios, because if Sony does well, then Marvel does well. That's
Yep.
just smooth as criminals. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Those guys are just they know what the fuck they're doing. Just I mean
You've been hit by a smooth criminal.
So yeah, those are our top 10 for the year, and we took longer to do that than I anticipated. So we had a lot to say. I know we have previously reviewed many of these things, or all of those things, in fact. Um, but they are our favorite things. So if you didn't catch those things, get to it. A lot of them are on streaming right now. You can access them. Uh, but maybe you disagreed. Maybe we left something out. I don't know. Get down to the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about. And of course, you can always hit us up. Supernotfunnyshow at gmail.com. At SuperNotFunnyS1 on Twitter. We would love to hear from you. Chop it up about uh, how 2021 did for superhero things. And because we took so long, we're not going to do the most anticipated for 2022. We're going to save that for next week. Uh, we are on a bit of I would say we're on a bit of a drought as far as superhero things. We don't have something else coming up until Peacemaker in a couple weeks. So
Yep.
next week, most anticipated for 2022. Sounds like a winner. Um, but either way, if you guys, thanks for joining us, and we do appreciate joining us for our show. But if you're not a member of the Super Not Funny Show family, you can get down there, hit that subscribe button. We would really appreciate that. Grow this channel some more with your help. And of course, you can always hit the notification bell to let you know when we release new content. And you can keep checking back on that. We're going to be doing more reviews, and I think there's streaming and all that fun stuff in the future. And of course, the Super Not Funny Show Supercast. And of course, Supercast doesn't work if it's just me. I guess if you just want to hear my boring self. But you can. My good friend Ladi always helps me out with his insight and his opinion. So, Lottie, where can they hit you up on social media?
Oh, yeah, you can always find me at my Instagram, which is Anu Kinihun. It is ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. And of course, you can also find me on my YouTube channel, which is Kinihun25. I do live streaming. I do podcasts. I also do recordings of the games that I'm playing. So, you know, catch any of the streams whenever possible or watch some of my videos. Thank you for supporting us. Like he said, we enjoy doing this, and I absolutely have a blast doing it.
Yeah, it's we love that doing this. We sit and talk nerd shit. what more fun could there be than that? And again, we really appreciate you guys being here. It's 2022, a brand new year. We're gonna try to blow this whole channel up, man. Uh, you know, black nerds of the world unite and all that fun stuff. So, we love nerd things, and we hope that you guys love nerd things. You come back and join us on the next episode 33, in fact, for the most anticipated superhero things of 2022. Until then, I have been Mo Poupe, your resident fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the video game designer, anime expert, and of course, lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.